You may have seen my other video about not leveling Cassian up too much. By the way, can I just ask, what is wrong with you guys? No thumbnail, no SEO in title, recorded in one take, scriptless in 2 minutes, and for some reason it does 1k in under 24 hours? What's up? Anyway, because I suggested there to keep him at level 40, this video will be a little bit more unique and talk about his buff numbers only up to level 7, since you do need level 70 phase 3 to level his skills higher than that. I do also want to clarify, you can level him to level 70, P3 him for his pretty art or ROTD, or level his skills, or use him as a budget tool, or just because he's your wife, whatever. It's up to you. I'm just telling you what I personally think is the most useful way of playing him. Do whatever you want. I'm a very aggressive type of chief, okay? Now, let's begin this video proper. Cassian is an A-rank catalyst who has a unique gimmick of sharing damage taken by an ally and buffing allies with someone's death or revival. As his kit can be confusing, I decided to make a separate video for him. He begins the fight with the base liquor mark on him. I'll call it the base mark to simplify. If the sinner carrying the base mark dies, they will be automatically revived after a 10-second delay, shown as this animation with the light falling down slowly. Once it touches the floor, that's when the sinner will be revived. If an allied unit is blocking the tile, then this revive will fail and it will not try to revive again, so make sure you don't move another sinner into this tile. This fits nicely into the rest of his kit. His ult puts the essence mark on an allied sinner. I'm just going to call it the ult mark. This buffs that sinner's damage dealt by 20% for 12 seconds. Also, the base carrier will take 70% of the damage that was supposed to be taken by the ult's target. So if your main DPS is dying due to the boss's really annoying attack, Cassian can mitigate this by absorbing 70% of it away. Usually this means your main DPS will survive. This is likely why his ECB comes with a HP increase, so that he can tank a bit more for the team. Speaking of which, I'll talk about his ECB next. While Cassian has this base mark, he can use his ECB. Using it will transfer the base mark to another sinner. When that sinner dies, or Cassian himself is revived, the base mark will come back to him. This means you may use Cassian's ECB as an "oh shit, my tank is about to die" base mark, and they will be revived after 10 seconds for free. Yes, this also means if you target your tank with ECB and ult the fragile main DPS, the tank will be the one who eats 70% of the damage away from main DPS, keeping everyone nice and safe. This is the first way of playing Cassian, which focuses more on his ability to share damage away from fragile allies and revive allies, which is a pretty special ability that up to this point only Turo also has. The other way of playing Cassian is more to do with his passive, so let's talk about that. His P1 makes it so when base marks carrier dies, whoever has the ult will get a 11.9% bonus attack for 12 seconds. Again, this is at level 7. His P2 makes all allied sinners get a 4% damage increase whenever a sinner is revived, to 5 stacks for a persistent 20% damage dealt increase. As you can see, this means you want a sinner to both die and revive as much as possible. Hence, the strategy of leaving him at level 40 and not unlocking his ECB. It means he will die easily to enemy attacks and trigger his passives faster than if he had level 70 amounts of health. As for Shackles, S2 is pretty important because it extends the ult mark duration for 6 seconds, which is a 50% duration increase. This does increase the damage buff's duration as well, so as long as the purple cup is on top of your DPS's head, it means they are buffed. With S4 or S5, you can nearly have full uptime on this buff, as Cassian will get his ult again right as it disappears from your DPS. Usually I don't recommend crime brands on these videos as the meta keeps shifting, but I think 2 are worth talking about for Cassian. Skyfall generally kills the sinner who is wearing it, so if you have a higher level Cassian, you can use this to better trigger his passive's buff if he's not dying to enemy attacks. Also, crime brands with "when the battle begins" descriptions usually proc again when a sinner revives, so if you give him Immolation Ignition and you keep killing him, it will keep spawning more energy stars whenever he revives. This will also work with crime brands like Nightmare Revelation or Noxus EX Node, which gives up to 60% attack bonus. All in all, Cassian has a really interesting, versatile gimmick, and it's absolutely worth snagging a copy of him from Millie's event for free. I do want to firmly clear up the misconception that level 40 Cassian is the only way to play him. I put out the other video only to warn people who might have been interested in spamming passives or immolation way of building to not level him past 40, only because you can't unlevel a sinner. I'm not hearing it about bad game design. Please consider reading before trying to act like a professional game critic, okay? I want to make it clear for the record, I like Cassian, I think his kit is really neat. I like that there is more than one way to build him. We finally got such a unique kit. Please, I would really like to see more interesting, weird kits like this, not for every useful character to just be I do a lot of damage. So you've been seeing people say, oh, EKG says that it's like bad game design or something. I don't know where that came from, okay? That's just from someone who doesn't know how to read. Anyway, that's all for me this time. See you next one. Bye-bye.